Ashe County Oral History Project, an interview with Billy Brown, November the 12th, 1980. Interviewer Clarice Weaver. Miss Brown, we're going to maybe wrap up our interview and with some things that we maybe wanted to add to it and what have you. So we're going back a little bit and your very early childhood days when you were in school, and why don't you tell me about the very first school you went to? Was that where you went to the church?
I went to the Baptist Home Church on the roundabout. We didn't have no schoolhouses at that time, but the Baptists let teach their school in the Baptist church, and I had about 4 miles to go, or 3 or 4 miles. I'd say about 3 miles, and had to walk.
Oh.
And I lived off the road at that time. When I started school, when I was off the road, and I was right smart side boy to go. They taken me when I first started. They seen that I got there all right, but I got with other kids, other children, and there's some grown up going, and they helped
look after the little ones.
They helped mighty good. Winfield Sturgill awfully good, and Millard Parker and Willie Brown, and just different fellows as older than I was when I started in the school. And it was a very cold time at times then, plenty of snow, and I didn't get to go all the time. It just too bad. And then they'd stop school maybe a week, 10 days, and
when the weather's too bad,
till we could go to school. And we had good teachers. They was all strict, and we had strict parents, and it didn't make too much difference to us if we violated the teacher's rules and they didn't correct us while we got it at home.
They're going to keep you straight, weren't they?
They kept us straight, really straight. And me and my sister went up there. Wasn't just kind of a road up them days to our house. It didn't have a good road. But we must have found a nickel. And our folks had taught us, don't never take nothing don't belong to you. And told us about flipping things, they called it, from anybody, and not to try to take nobody's pencil in school or nothing. And that money was, and we looked at it good and almost took to the house, but we didn't, and we never did find that. We went back and somebody got it, and they said it'd been all right to got that.
Oh my goodness! You just left it lying,
8 or 10 year old, young like, but I remember that.
Oh yeah,
mighty good. I thought of it, and me and my sister was together. She is older now, we're a year older, and we talked at her. We got grown about leaving that money. It was money. It might have been a quarter.
Oh, well, it's too late after someone else got it, wasn't it?
I believe I took.
Now you were telling about now you went to church. I mean, you went to school in the church, and when you got your school, how did you get your school building?
Well, they had been talking of building a school, but people in that day didn't have much money.
The people had to build a school.
That's right, and they could furnish lumber and everything like that, but they had to hire the carpenters and different things, and and they had association at this church. Yeah, that's right. They were wanting to build that school. Well, the church had association in that day, and I must have been 10 years old. I don't at that time, and had to go to church on a good ways off the road, horses and and buggies, surreys, and walk for miles. An awful crowd come. My father, we had a pretty large house, and he built a porch bench on each side of the door for folks to sit on and be coming in, and fixed in the barn. We had a big barn, and he fixed in the barn for people to sleep in the barn. They do that in that day. So many go.
You fed them, didn't you?
Had plenty to eat, and they fed them, and they couldn't do no better. And
sounds like it's pretty good to me.
And there's a sight of people come in, and in that day, fellas could have a little moonshine and have a little drinking, and they got mighty bad. Folks are drunk, and they come out of Tennessee. Of course, there's about a mile to the Tennessee line or two, and they all come over there to church. People a lot of times, and they came in from all over our township. Brushy Fork, we called it, and Rock Creek, and Little Roundabout, and different places, and they got so rough they had to go arresting them, and they just picked them up plenty and arrested them, and let them go on home and have trial after the meeting was.
They'd come to the meeting house drunk, huh?
Oh yes, and outside disturbing. Maybe they didn't go in, but disturbed the crowd, and maybe went in the church. I don't remember. I was pretty small, but I do remember about it. And they was hauling lumber in that day, and they coming down the road shooting and shot a girl like to hit her in the head with a bullet, and it cut her hair.
Oh, was she in the church? Where was she?
She was at home along the road.
Oh.
And the road was dangerous to be in, and then they had a store up on the mountain right on the Tennessee line, and Frank Lewis was drinking, and a bunch from Tennessee, and they got in a fight, and Frank got his eye put out with a Van, seemed like a Van Phillips. There's somebody from Tennessee, and Phillips is drunk a whole lot. But anyway, and
well, what did they do? Hit him in the eye with something?
Stuck a gun right in his eye.
Oh my goodness.
Went to shoot him, but didn't shoot him. Hit him in the eye with a gun, and then shot at it, hit him, but it got his eye out of the pistol.
Oh my goodness! Lost his eye.
Yes.
Were they enemies? I mean, but did they have a grudge against him, or were they just drunk, and anybody that had run into it had done the same thing?
Just drinking, and they had fights, and they find these fellows.
Did they go on to the church drunk?
Oh yes, they're on the way to church. Them fellows were having this fight, but I think the Lord done got rough and was stopping everybody by that time and arresting them, and they didn't bring them to jail. It's so far they just for drunk, or they just let them come in. Maybe somebody who stood good did come in.
What, did they take them home or send them home?
Well, there was others who wasn't so drunk took them home, you know. They had buddies there a lot of times. And my uncle, John Oldman, and he was too old to be drinking like that, but he had to pay a fine. He'd come drunk.
That's
awful. Didn't have to do nothing when they sat down on them. Why, they better not come a drinking and drunk. They They just arrested him. I don't know. It was a side. Well, they JP at that time was L.J. Sturgill, and he knew the court here good, and I believe the court appointed him as a justice up there. And he got in with the court and the county commissioners and whoever was in authority to use that money on building a schoolhouse. And the court agreed to it. So they had their trials and give them, if they didn't have the money, they give them so long to get the money. And so far as I know, best I remember, they got enough money in that day with what the church members sold in and lumber to build a church.
To build a school.
Built that church, and they called it to build that school. And then it did years, it ain't been many years ago, it went for years. Something happened. Where was it? Well, you know where the colored or the drunkard schoolhouse is up there? Yeah, I do. Well, it was so and so from the drunkard school.
And they called it the drunkard
yes,
school?
Yes, always did.
Is that right?
Went for that name.
Well,
but they could have called it the dry school later that because they was scared to almost see liquor in the road.
that winged them.
Right near go around and us kids, you know, we was scared of liquor.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's one cause I never did get to be a drunkard.
Well, they had a monument to their drinking, didn't they? The schoolhouse.
That's right.
Every
Yes,
time they saw it, it reminded them maybe they're fine. They had
that's
to pay.
right.
Well, that was good use of the money, but yeah, they did. When they get drunk, I guess they want to get in with the crowd and to go to a meeting or a church where there's some action going on.
They had to have some place to go. It's not like now you could go everywhere in cars. The church is all the place you had to go. In my day, they'd have a school play or something in the fall or something like that, but there's nowhere to go.
When you were having school plays and that sort of thing, did some of the people get pretty tanked up or drunk for that?
No, they never did get out of place too much. They did come drinking some, but they
stayed quiet.
Come on up. The first officers I remember seeing was Carl Grable in 1928. They was drinking some of the school play, and he came up and came in. There's some fellows with their hats on and carrying on. And he said, "Get your hat off, please." Put them hats down, you know. And they found it the law and scared them. They got out and left. They got out of that schoolhouse. It was full of people, and my wife was just a girl then, and I was just a boy, and she said a speech, had a speech, you know. That's the first time ever I know the law to be at a school.
Curfew must not ring tonight.
Oh, it's a fine.
It was about that long.
You had to get up and say it. The curfew must not ring tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
And that I was a grown man then. I was grown, and well, most anyway. So that is school times for me all the way up.
So you got your school building out of that one big drunk that
yeah, and
you're not pleased with that, I guess.
Played bass and had good times at school, and that's about the end of that.
Your thoughts on the school. They've changed a lot now. School is a full-time situation now.
That's right.
They're busy.
But it's a big change because nowadays they don't correct them like they did in them days. That is the rules, and they went by them, and all the kids knowed they couldn't do something wrong and get by. They was going to get a whooping and would.
They knew not to bake them, didn't they?
That's right.
Now we had discussed a little bit, or maybe we didn't go into about, are we ready?
That you throw them against the wall and it never bust.
Now that was, you resolving that
We was,
on your debating?
yeah, we was on that subject, and we was against the young girl, but we was for 'em.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Quincy, he got up and he got started, and he said, Cicero, speaking about the old lady and what a bad cook she was, and baking this biscuits, he said, if I'd had a grandmother that didn't know no more than that, I'd have never brought it up in this place. And everybody just yelling and hollering.
Good night. Well, they just come from miles around to hear the debates,
yes,
didn't they?
no, and we won over them that night. The jury went out and said they thought about just walking over and letting us stay in there. we just whooped them good. And there's a school teacher teaching in Tennessee there, and she had got tangled up and had a baby while she was teaching, but none of them knowed it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it come to me, they was telling about me being down in the basement and or cellar, they called it, and seen them all and was scared about afraid it'd fall on my baby's head. If we got married, well, that baby get crippled under that or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, talking about the grandmother, I said, nowadays them folks was good. No, my brother brought that up. He said whenever you prayed, it wasn't like sticking a boom handle down the throat, couldn't bend. It meant something when she prayed. And
Yeah, when the grandmother prayed.
yeah, and he just rolled them, and that other fella too. And I told him they scared about that kid somewhere I brought in anyhow, and I told him that the modern girl now had to go home teaching school. They had hired them now, and it's known that they had to go home and take care of the baby and keep the malice from hitting the baby, or have a baby during the school out of wedlock. And all the hollering, and then when it's over, they was mad. They was going to make me prove it. I was right there in 3 miles in Tennessee, and that woman had to, go home. I had to we just had all the fun in the world.
Well, now you just got on this debating team. There's just about 6 of you then, 4 or 6. And then, how'd you pick your subject? You said your subject was resolved that the modern girl was a better cook than her grandmother.
Better in her day than really in every way.
How did you pick your subjects? Did you just decide the team or the group that was debating? Did you all decide what you wanted to
I
tackle?
believe that somebody decided what first. And we had the cars. So just had got into the business down here, and they come up to hear it. And Lord, we did. The car was the sorriest thing that ever been on the road. Folks were getting crippled. And the old man Ashley, he got up there and he for the car, and no, he was for the horse and buggy.
Now that was Will
Yes.
Will Ashley.
And him and his boy.
Now Cicero was his boy. Were they always on the same side?
Yes, they stayed on the same side. So he said that they got started to Wilkesboro to load apples to sell, and he said they had a big string in the wood. They'd just covered wagons, plenty of them. And he said that in that day that it took so many bales, so much hay, so much corn to feed a team, and it was awful, and it mounted to a lot. And it come my turn to answer that, and I got and I told them about them. They'd heard what had been said, and I said, "You talk about," they was talking about blowing out the tires. Them old tubes would just blow out, and they had the awful time of running cars in that day. Working half the time, you know.
Patching
And
tires.
I said, talk about blowout of tires, casings, and the tube blowing out. I said, suppose and just think if them horses beat as much hay and corn as them, as he said they did, you talk about a blowout, that'd have been a tear out. And you ought to, we just from one thing to another hit us off what base we did have.
Oh, those were good old days.
And it's just somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And,
everybody went.
oh yes, Lord, the house wouldn't hold them. Be standing over where they'd get in. Yes, they would in that day. They got up till they had some cars then, you know.
Oh, yeah. They wanted to hear that.
We had some fun.
Well, that's interesting. Did you ever have any big fights or any squabbles at box suppers? When you got to be a grown man and they started having box suppers, were they pretty peaceful?
Well, no, they did drink some. Did have to arrest some men. One time we had one there at our school, and they come from off around, and a fellow stopped the feller. And I arrested him. I was an officer at that time, and we take him down to a magistrate's, and it struck him kindly in the side, and you could hear the air coming out of his side, bleeding. And we got him down there, and the doctor came, and he stitched him up, said he wasn't, it wasn't affected too much, but he'd need to see him during the next week. But he was scared bad, and we all thought he was killed, and the air coming out. And, but we took care of it. We never let nothing get by like that without that fella paid for it. We caught him. He was from off. He wasn't there on our creek, but we always started off and arrested somebody if they went disturbing and fighting. I guess I'll tell this. They had a prayer meeting or something at my home there, and I went down to that prayer meeting that night, and I went up and always went up in front in the church. Back in them days, them was single and courting folks back in the backwoods, you know, pretty much. And I was married, and I and my wife went, and they two drunks come in, and they came right up, close up, and in that day they had a cloak that they wore, and they just pitched the cloak over top of them girls' head, two of them, right by me.
The man wore a cloak? I mean, or the girls?
The girls. They just done that over some girls. It was up there in the front. Well, I just took hold of, and told them, said, don't do that. Don't do that. And they looked at me, and that we was up in front there close. And I said, get arrested. And no, I wasn't the law at that time at all. Squire Sturgill would have, deputize a man to arrest you. He'd have that done. And so he called her when the church was over. Well, they didn't go out. And we had our boy, I had him in my arms. He was small, about a year old, I guess, he wasn't 2 year old, but I had that boy, and and a thing like that caused a big disturbance.
yeah.
And so that fellow come over to me, and I said, I apologized to him and told him I thought he'd get arrested, and I didn't think he'd better do that. It's up there right in front, and he just went to mousing to me, and the other one was standing there. He drunk. I told him though. I said if you were sober, I'd knock you through yourself. And I was pretty good in that day. I had enough practice till I could hit a man and I could settle him pretty good. So he that didn't end it. And some woman fainted, scared her, and she was fainting. I tried to get somebody to take the baby out, and they didn't take him, and I just throwed him. I know that fella get him, and he grabbed him. And we went into it, and she fainted, and we didn't, and they took him out of the house there. Some of them fellows, citizens there, got him out away from me. When I walked out, that fellow was there in the door, and on to him he went.
Well, you got rid of the baby and you started out the church door.
We had the argument in there, and I tried reading with him, and he's just going to whoop me anyhow. And so, but I went out the door, and he was a good-sized man, about 20-some-year-old, and he went to striking at me, and I was knocking his licks off. I was pretty good at that. And I gave him one in the head, and I put him on the ground. I hit him in the side of the head. And I just stayed where I was. And Lawrence Lewis, one of my friends, said, "What's going on? What's wrong?" And I told him what had happened, and he just shoved me towards him. And he got up, and he went to doing the same way, and I floored him again. I knocked him out. That other fellow, he didn't try to fight.
The one is with him.
That's right. And so my daddy come into the picture then. He was there, and he just grabbed that fellow, and he thought he had me, and he hit my daddy. My daddy just.
He was getting you away from it.
We was parted though. My daddy thought I'd go right back into it, but he struck my daddy, and he just shut his window. He said,
He's strong.
I've quit. Yeah, he is awful tough. And well, magistrate had us arrested, and took us down to his house, and I told how it was, and they turned me loose, just talking, and told them, and they put guards and wanted me to guard till they could go get a law somewhere, get an officer. And they'd take an hour or two to get them. I had to go on horseback, and then I just came on home. But my daddy had a big field of oats cut, and is ready to bind and tie up. And I was one of the men, and it rusted up my fist so bruised up so I couldn't have him in his grain the next day.
That fighting didn't pay, did it? It paid you. You got out of work.
I got out of the work, and so we came on home, and they let him give away.
Oh.
And the officer came, and he was mad because they'd let him get away. And about 6 months, I run on folks there that knowed this fella, and they said he's a boxing fella. I didn't see how in the world I ever done it, but I just knowed enough. I'd done till I could take care of myself.
And he was drinking, and that's maybe messed up his aim a little.
Well, he was doing good, And I met him at a fair in Tennessee, and we met, and he smiling, and I, of course, was too. And we met, made good friends of one another, and said they was drunk and out of trouble, and you can come back over in our country, and anytime you want to. There'll be nothing more to it. But he went west and stayed in the west. And then later, why they